Tales of the Shire, a Lords of the Rings game. Woohoo! Yeah, wee! My favorite. Just kidding. Let's talk about it, Dave.
Pull up the trailer.
Okay.
No excitement at all.
No,
No excitement at all would have been better than fake excitement.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's no excitement. I'll just be a brick wall with this one. I am not excited for Tales of the Shire. Yeah, Dave, take it away.
Okay, so guys, honestly, I think this game is going to be huge. I really do. I think this is going to be a huge game. And if you guys are just listening, what we're looking at right now is we are looking at a Hobbit who is going just kind of walking through this town, and the town is called Bywater, which is actually from the franchise. And if you guys know the story, you know a little bit about Bywater. And I think what's really interesting about this game is that the look of it is very aesthetically pleasing. This is going to be on all consoles, but it kind of gives me that Switch vibe if you guys are just watching, but it gives me like a Switch vibe with like actual console graphics, which I think is really interesting. And the town itself just looks really, really, really cool. And you're looking right now and you're seeing a lot of things that you can do in the game. And essentially what this game is just like a Hobbit life simulator. And I think that this game has a lot of the aspects of things that are going to make it very, very interesting and very, very addictive to people. And I think people are going to grasp onto this and just really enjoy the process of living out like a Hobbit life in this simulator.
I can definitely see that. You know what it reminds me of? And I know you kind of said Switch vibes and things like that. Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it reminds me of. Truthfully, okay, I don't like the Lords of the Rings. I almost said Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Rings. But like you said, aesthetically, this game looks really pleasing, very like lighthearted. It looks like you'll be able to really engulf yourself as being like a part of Lords of the Rings, and I think that is very cool. Don't get that part mixed up, but
yeah, and I think there's obviously an entire group of people that really love Lord of the Rings. I mean, there's people that love The Hobbit and all that stuff. This is kind of giving me the same feel of like Harry Potter, like the Harry Potter game, where people were just excited to be a character in Harry Potter, and like they wanted to get they wanted to get into their house, like they wanted to customize their room and stuff like that. And I think that's exactly the same kind of draw and pull that this game is going to pull. And honestly, I think people are kind of getting hung up on the Lord of the Rings factor of it too much. There's going to be Lords of the Rings stuff in here. There's going to be lore. There's going to be things and Easter eggs that people notice. But I really don't think that you even need to be a fan of Lord of the Rings to just be a fan of this type of game. I mean, exactly like what you said, this is very much like a Stardew Valley, like an Animal Crossing. It's all a simulator about building your life within this town, and building your house and crafting your garden and interacting with the people in the town and just kind of like living that simulator life. And I think that's going to have a lot of draw for people.
Kind of like how you said there, it's you don't have to be a Lords of the Rings Fallen. I think you just have to be a fan of, did I say Lord? Yeah. What did I say?
Lords of the Ring Fallen.
Yeah. What am I doing? Combining two ideas.
That would be a crazy franchise if Frodo gets dropped into the Lords of the Fallen world.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm messing that up, but like you said, you don't have to be a fan of Lord of the Rings. But what I think, like you said, you have to be a fan of like an Animal Crossing, the Stardew Valley, those types of games. What's the Disney one? Disney Valley Dream Valley?
Yeah, Dream Valley, is that what it's called?
Something like that. I think those are the types of games that, that's who they're trying to attract, is those kind of people, and fans of the game, or fans of Lords of the Rings. And I think in that aspect, I think it is going to be a good game for those people that like those type of games.
And I think people are really going to get attracted to this because, like I said, dude, as soon as I opened up my little room in Hogwarts, like, I just was engulfed in just like wanting to collect things and build that room out. And that's exactly the kind of things that you're going to be able to do here. We talked about it. It's taking place in a town called Bywater. And the basic premise of the game is that the town hasn't really gained its status as a village in Middle Earth. So that's the whole concept of the game is you're trying to take this town, build it up, and once you have it built up, like it actually gets like its village status within Middle Earth. So that's kind of like the tie-in of the Lord of the Rings. But you're gonna be able to create and customize your own Hobbit, which you know people are gonna love. Build and decorate your own Hobbit home, grow a garden, fish, forage. You can cook following a bunch of recipes. You build like friendships and relationships with all the other people in the town. And I just think it's a really interesting concept. And we've already seen in the trailer that they're going to have a day and night cycle. They said that they're going to have seasons. So that'll be really cool. That's a lot like Stardew Valley, where, you know, you'll have spring, you'll have summer, and then in the winter, like you're going to have snow on the ground and stuff like that. It's going to give that, you know, sense of time where you're actually kind of playing. And I just think it's a really interesting idea and something that people are really going to kind of grasp onto. And one of my favorite things about it is, like I said, you don't have to be a Lords of the Rings. Now I'm saying Lords of the Fallen in my head. You don't have to be a Lord of the Rings fan to like enjoy this game, I don't think. But it is being done by Weta Workshop, and they're known for the work that they did in Middle Earth on the actual, you know, Lord of the Rings franchise. So if you are a fan of Lord of the Rings and you're kind of drawn to it because of that, and you really want it to maintain like all of the lore of the hobbits and stuff, um, that stuff is all going to be there. Like I can't imagine that they're going to change anything from the movies, especially since they worked so hard on the movies to build the lore already. Like the painting is already there for them. So I think it's going to stay really true to the franchise.
I guess my biggest question is like, do you think this game's gonna have more and more content released, or is it gonna be dropped and you just keep playing like, you know what I mean? Like, is I've never played Animal Crossing. Does Animal Crossing like release content like regularly? Do you think that this game's gonna get regular content?
I don't think it's going to get regular content drops. I think honestly, especially because this isn't like a free to play or anything like that. Like if you purchase the game, you're going to get the game. Like Stardew does it a lot. I think Stardew's only released one DLC since the game actually came out. Animal Crossing is the same way. Like, there's not going to be a ton of things to buy post purchase of the game. I wouldn't think. Now, don't get me wrong. There's most likely going to be a store and stuff like that where you can purchase stuff. If you really want to have this cool statue in your Hobbit home, you could probably buy it. You know what I mean? That would be kind of silly of them to not include that, but I don't really think this is a game where it's like they're gonna kill you on microtransactions or you're gonna have to buy DLC content or anything like that. It just feels like a game that's gonna like it's gonna drop. It is what it is, and I think people are really gonna enjoy it.
But for how long? You know what I mean? How long can you do this cycle of the seasons and things like that to really hold you into the game? Like, what is going to keep people playing this game after you, let's say, get to the town status in Middle Earth? Like, why should somebody continue to play after they get that status?
I'm not sure if too many people are going to play after that, and I'm glad you brought that up because there is like this kind of big event at the end of the game. They're saying that the big thing is that you need to get this town ready to get their village status, but you also need to get the town ready for what they're calling the Bywater Festival, which I don't swear on the show, but I'm going to swear on the show right now because fans of Step Brothers, you will know this is the fucking Catalina wine mixer of Hobbitville. Like you are throwing a bomb bash, and after that, you should like that's kind of like the end point of the game. And after that, I'm sure people are going to continue on. I'm sure some people are going to be like, okay, I've completed it, but it feels like to me that you know, a lot like most games it's okay to have that endpoint and just be kind of done with it. You know what I mean? I think kind of people latch on to like, oh, I need to be able to play this game for like the next year. For I need to put 400 hours into this game. I don't think that's the game, and I don't think it needs to be that game. You know what I mean? If I put 40 hours into this, great.
I could see that because like for me, like when I play video games, I'm like, shoot, I haven't put enough hours into this game to start my next game. Like I need to like continue to play this game, even though I'm kind of getting burnt out of it. But I can see that. Especially, I don't think this game's gonna be full $60 on Switch or $70 on Xbox or anything like that. And honestly, this might be Game Pass game at some point.
I can't imagine it's a full retail game, and I know I'm kind of bringing it back to Stardew again, but Stardew did this. I mean, so when you play Stardew, you basically have 2 years to get to your farm to like a certain point, and then once you get to that certain point, you get a grade on your farm, and that's technically the end of the game, but you can still keep going with your farm, and you know how people get like some like I said, some people are gonna be like, okay, I beat the game, and some people are gonna just be like, I just really enjoy like craft. I just really enjoy like crafting this Hobbit village. You know what I mean? And it's like they don't care that the festival is over and they have village status. They're still just like interested on like, oh, maybe I could put another garden over here. Like now I have some more space. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those kind of calming, relaxing games that you can kind of go back to, and even if you've already beaten it, you'll still have fun just kind of messing around in it.
I guess going into the gameplay and how all that's going to work with the crafting and building the town into village status, does that mean like is it a story based game where like you just go help other people in the village to help bring more people in, or what you do like you get more land, you get more people? Like how do you think the gameplay itself is going to work?
Typically how these games work, right, is you kind of customize your character, you're dropped in, and you might get a little bit of a like a
A blurb, yeah.
a little blurb about like here is how the story is starting, right, and you get your little plot of land, and then the story continuing on is really kind of based on what you do, right? So if the story itself is kind of these interactions with the other people in the town, because once you start interacting with the other people, they're the ones that are going to kind of give you the objectives, so to speak. They'll be like, oh, like, oh, my fence is broken, I need this, or like, oh, I'm having so and so over for dinner, I need to catch x amount of fish, or, like something like that. Those are like kind of the objectives, like the side objectives of the game. But I mean, really, what you're doing is just kind of living out your own life. And if you want to go hermit style and not talk to anybody in the town, like you can do that. I'm not sure how it's going to work with this whole, trying to get the festival together and everything like that. But it's an option. I mean, it really is an option on how you want to play the game. And if you just want to ignore everybody in the town and just build your little hobbit hole and call it good, you can call it good.
Do you think that this game is going to have like not endless amounts of customization? Do you think it's going to have a good plethora of customization, or it's going to be like, oh, 10 hats and that's how I customize my Hobbit?
So here's the thing. I think this game is going to have just an absolute absurd amount of customization, because essentially that's all that this game it's really focused on all the building and the customization and build and making things the way that you want it, because some people are not super excited about this, but this game has no combat. There's no combat in this game. They didn't build a combat system. You're never going to fight anything in this game. So it really is leaning heavy on the design phase, and like if they do that and they don't have a bunch of options for you to choose from, I think they're totally missing out.
I don't know about this game. I just, for people that like Animal Crossing, I think it's going to be fun. I don't know if like real Lords of the Rings fans are really going to like sit down and love this game. I feel like they haven't gotten a true like combat game. Has there been like a really good Lords of the Rings game? I know there was uh the Lords of the Rings Return to Moria. Is that how you say it? Like that, where you play as the hobbits, and or is it the hobbits or the trolls? I don't remember.
Lord of the Rings has never gotten a good action RPG, in my opinion. They've never gotten a good action RPG. But the thing with that is that this game is very transparent on what it is. So I don't think fans expecting an action RPG are going to look at this game and expect it to be anything other than it is. Now, that the problem with that before is because they've put out quote unquote action RPGs that they've sold as action RPGs that just aren't very good. You know what I mean? Like this game, on the other hand, is not trying to be that, and I think people are going to know that getting into it. And do I think all Lord of the Rings fans are going to be on board with this game? No, absolutely not. But I mean, I think there's going to be a good majority of people who just really kind of like the the fact that it's a cute little hobbit village and you get to build it and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to be for everybody, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's going to be something big. I do think people are going to latch onto it, especially if they drop it for an affordable price. Like if this is a 39.99 game, like okay, you know what I mean? Like people are really going to be like, yeah, for 40 bucks, whatever, I'll build a hobbit village.
I think another part that's kind of disappointing is there's no multiplayer. I know you're not a big multiplayer person, but how cool would it be to bring your little hobbit and have some friends come visit you? Like, not saying the gameplay has to, but it'd be kind of fun to like see what you build in your world and things like that, and travel to other people's worlds. Kind of how they do in Animal Crossing.
I do like that side of things. And again, guys, I hate to bring up Stardew again, but Stardew, you basically, if you never played, you can kind of create this like a secondary house on your property for your friends, where they can kind of load up and jump into your farm and kind of see what's going on. I would not be surprised if, after the amount of comments of people saying that they didn't like the fact that there's no multiplayer, they try to kind of work that situation into the game. I would not be shocked if at launch or shortly after they do have some type of online kind of setup for this.
Right. And there's no official release date, so they can change a lot of things in it. It's not, as you know, if it's going to be this year. All I see is coming soon.
Official is coming soon. Now I've heard things of very late 2024. But don't hold me to that.
Yeah, I think for me, I just like to see a little bit more gameplay of it. Again, this isn't my typical type of game, so I probably won't get it, but I'd like to see how good it does compared to like things like Animal Crossing, Stardew, and other games like that. So, but for me, it's Lord of the Rings. Not gonna play it. Just kidding. It looks cute. It looks cute.
Adam hates Lord of the Rings.
I don't hate it. It's not for me.
It's all right, buddy. It's all right, buddy. I do like Stardew a lot. I think it's a fun, relaxing game, and it's definitely one that I'm going to check out. And honestly, a game like this, I don't care what franchise it is. It could be any franchise, and I'd give it a shot. You know what I mean? So, guys, going to be dropping on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch. Not very soon, coming soon. Some notes are saying late 24. The biggest note here, and we talked about this a little bit on the last show, no PS4, no Xbox One.
Peace out.
It's officially happening, guys. It's officially happening, guys. The PS4 and Xbox One are dead.